I felt like I wasn't making the progress that I needed to make. I felt like I wasn't using my time effectively. I felt really frustrated, and then all of that led me to feeling completely unaccomplished every single week. You've got these big dreams and these big goals, but you just don't seem to be getting anywhere with them, and it's really bloody annoying. You are watching the She Means Business show with me, Carrie Green. I'm the founder of the Female Entrepreneur Association and the author of the best-selling book, She Means Business. And every single week, I'm going to be talking with you about how you can turn your ideas into a wildly successful business and actually live the life of your dreams. You can do this, and I'm so excited to show you how. So let's get started. Hello! I hope you are having a wonderful day. So I wanted to talk about something that I think is very important, and that is how to actually get stuff done that gets us results. Because so often I find that we end up feeling really busy doing it, and potentially not getting the results we want. And the question I also get asked all the time is like, how do I manage my time effectively? I'm juggling being a mum with building a business. I'm juggling having a full-time job with building a business on the side. And I just don't know how to get the things done. I don't know how to make time for it. And in 2018, I became a mum. I've got 2 kids now, Casey, who's 2, and Marley, she is nearly 7 months. And I know how crazy it can be when you have another priority and a business. It is overwhelming at times. And for me, balancing being a mum with having a business has been a real struggle at times. Well, the guilt and anxiety, but I mean, to be fair, that's an episode of its own. But just actually trying to manage my time effectively and get all the things done. And what I was finding was that I felt like I was stuck in the mud. I felt like I wasn't making the progress that I needed to make. I felt like I wasn't using my time effectively. I felt really frustrated, and then all of that led me to feeling completely unaccomplished every single week. And I would just feel so irritated with myself that I wasn't making progress, and that I'm sure you know how it feels when you've got these big dreams and these big goals, but you just don't seem to be getting anywhere with them, and it's really bloody annoying. So I had a really big shift and realization that has massively changed the way I approach managing my time. And I wanted to share it with you because I thought it could be helpful. So no matter whether you're struggling with time because you're a mum, or you have a full-time job and you're trying to build a business, or you've just got stuff going on, maybe you've got people you need to take care of, whatever it is, we are busy people, and but the fact that you're busy and you have other priorities doesn't mean you can't build a really successful business. You absolutely can. Now, if I'm being completely honest, before I had kids and another priority, I literally spent all my time working. I was a little bit of a workaholic. I personally just loved it. It doesn't feel like work to me. It feels like a hobby. So from when I wake up in the morning, I would be just working away on all my ideas and being creative and building the business and trying to figure things out. And I would often be sat on my computer at 1, 2 in the morning, still working away, still really excited. And I was able to really pour so much of myself into the business, which obviously helped me to grow faster, especially when I'd got an inspired idea and I could just go for it right away. And I was working on it. That really helped. That being said, as I look back over time, I realized that there was a lot of wasted time where I'm just a busy fool. How often are we busy fools? We're busy, but busy doing what? Busy getting what results? And I think this is what it comes back to. I think we often get stuck in this cycle of feeling like we have to do all of the things. And so we're so caught up in trying to do this and this and this and this and this and this that we're actually just really all over the place, and it just all feels a bit messy and chaotic and crazy, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer that you can create wild amounts of success being messy, being chaotic, being however you damn well want to be. You can just be you, and you can create wild amounts of success. That is the truth for me. This journey of mine to get to where I'm at now has been far from perfect, far from organized. I am all over the place. One thing I would say I am is disciplined. That I am disciplined. Not 100% of the time, but I know if I want to create success and I want to make something happen, then I'm going to be disciplined in the pursuit of that thing. Anyway, I digress. The point is, like, how do you make the most of your time? And there's one word that I want to share with you that is a game changer, has been a game changer for me, and I think will be for you. And it is this: accomplished. Forget time management. How can we feel accomplished? Because that's what we want, right? We want to feel accomplished. When you're accomplished, you're making progress, you're building momentum, you're getting results. I don't know about you, but when I feel like I'm not making the most of my time and I'm not achieving what I want, the feeling I'm sitting with is I feel unaccomplished, and it's frustrating. So I realized, what could I do to actually start to feel accomplished? And when I started thinking about, well, what does it mean to be accomplished, to feel accomplished? Now, obviously, that means something different for every single one of us. So I started, what does that mean for me? When do I do things that make me feel, oh my gosh, I just feel amazing that I've got that done. It makes me feel accomplished. And so I started to analyze my activities and what I was doing and what things I felt really good spending my time on and what things I didn't feel good spending my time on. And I started to recognize patterns that I got into, patterns of when I actually was feeling accomplished and when I wasn't. And in doing that, I could realize, okay, well, this is a bunch of junk that I can get rid of because it doesn't make me feel accomplished. It doesn't progress me. It doesn't build momentum. It doesn't get me results. So why the bloody hell am I doing it? I think so often we waste so much time doing things that actually don't get us where we want to go. They don't get us results. They don't make us feel accomplished. We're just wasting our time doing it. And this is half the problem. So I realized, okay, I give myself permission to make this simple. I do not have that much time anymore. So let me just share with you. For me, and this has changed over the years of having kids, but for example, with Casey, when he got a little bit older, I had my Casey days, and those were Wednesdays and Fridays. I took them off. They were my Casey days, and I wasn't working on those days. Now, I didn't stick to that all the time because sometimes I just had to get stuff done, but I tried to feel in my head okay, I'm working these days, I'm not working these days, and this is the time I'm going to allocate to work on the days I'm working. So I felt for me, having that schedule for myself was helpful. Now, for example, especially Molly's 7 months, so she's getting older. I still feed her myself, so she's just exclusively, obviously she's weaning a bit now, but she's breastfed baby, so that obviously impacts on my work day. But really, I've just started to work a little bit more in the mornings, and often I'll book in team calls in the morning. So from say 9:30 to 10:30, I wake up in the morning and I hang out with kids. It's breakfast time, it's kid time. And then I might have a call, and then I'll probably feed Marley and hang out some more. Sometimes I do a little bit more work. I have been recently, but often I don't. And then Casey has his nap. Sometimes I work or have calls in Casey's nap, although he's kind of dropping his nap at the moment, so it's a bit hit and miss. So basically, then around 12ish, it's Casey's lunchtime. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoons, he goes to nursery. So at 1 o'clock, it's nursery drop off. So he goes to nursery. Sometimes I take him, often Kellen takes him. And then from 1 o'clock to he gets picked up about 5:30, that is my work time. Obviously, I feed Marley in that time as well. But that's more of okay, I've got some focused work time. So 4 afternoons a week, I know I can get a bit of work done. And in that time, I have to figure out, okay, in these hours that I now have available to me, what do I actually need to get done that's going to help me to feel accomplished? When Marley was smaller, I had way less time. And also, it's only recently that Casey started to go to nursery 4 afternoons a week. And actually, when we've been on more there was a period of lockdown when Casey wasn't in nursery at all. So literally I had hardly any time. And don't get me wrong, there were weeks when I was bloody hell, I've literally got nothing done. And it's frustrating, but you just have to let it go, because you just sometimes have to just kind of go with the flow of life, and that's fine. But for me, like I said, it's coming back to this question of how can I feel accomplished? So how do you do this? I realized that okay, if this was something I realized earlier on, actually last year, if I did a workshop once a week and I got people to sign up for my membership through my workshop once a week, and I was connecting with my audience, I was learning about them more, I was understanding more about what their needs are, I was seeing how I could serve them better, I was then also giving them an offer to join my membership, I was getting new members coming on board, would that, say, 90 minutes of my time be a good use of my time, and would it help me to feel accomplished? And if in a week all I got to do was just do that one workshop, would I feel accomplished for the week? And I realized the answer was yes. And I thought to myself, if I just do a workshop a week and get results, then I can feel accomplished and I don't have to make it complicated. I don't have to be doing all of the things. I don't have to film 50 million videos. I don't have to be doing all this stuff to feel accomplished. So instead of, like, so often, like, we might, especially in this day and age, we get so caught up in content creation, and that's very time consuming. And often you get stuck on the content creation hamster wheel, but you're potentially not actually getting great results from it. So what if you just made a shift and instead thought, what one thing could I do every week that could really help me to create growth in my business and help me to feel accomplished? What would that be? And maybe it could just be sending some DMs every single day to people and having one-on-one conversations. Maybe it's actually just showing up once a day on social media, on Instagram or whatever, and connecting with your audience and posting out and building momentum like that. And might that be a slow process? Perhaps, but will it be a successful one? Yeah, because if you're just committing to showing up once a day to do that thing, it helps you to feel accomplished, but it also, you know what the result you're trying to get is, and you're working towards getting that result. A friend of mine, Kate, she has her Instagram shop, The Little Jones, and when she started her business when her son Harry was 6 months old, and she's now got 3 children, and throughout that time she's built a following to over 50,000, and she sells wall art, and she's had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of sales. And it all started with this idea of just showing up to just post out probably like once a day. And just, that's it, once a day. And it's like, okay, yes, there are other things, and she's fulfilling orders and making time to fulfill those orders. But it's like, what is, especially, I think this question is also important in relation to growth, because I think we all want to create growth. And the thing is, it's like, how do we make the most of our time to create growth so that we can build more successful businesses? So it's looking at, like, how are you actually spending your time? So the first thing I want you to do to help you to feel more accomplished and to recognize what accomplished means for you and what that looks like for you is take stock of what you're doing with your time. So literally start to track your time. So if, for example, over the next 3 days, you get a pen and a piece of paper or a notebook and you begin to track your time, literally write down everything that you do throughout the day. So every time you do a task or something, you're literally like writing down the task that you did and the time it took you and the time of the day, and literally just write everything out. You can also track literally everything if you want, from the moment you wake up, when you go to the loo, when you make a cup of tea, when you have a conversation, when you, whatever it is, literally just document everything. It's really eye-opening. I promise you it will probably be a really productive few days because you're tracking your time, and so you want to be really good. But if you begin to track your time, you can get it all out on paper, like, what are you doing? And actually realizing, bloody hell, I only had 30 minutes to work on my business today. Okay, what did I do in that 30 minutes? Oh, well, I didn't really do very much because I realized I wasn't very organized about what I needed to get done. And so I just spent that 30 minutes faffing around, and then I didn't have enough time because then I had to go and pick Blardy up from nursery, or I'd had to go and do this, and this. And that was it. That's all I got. And it wasn't productive, and I didn't feel accomplished in that 30 minutes. So first things first, look at what is actually going on right now for you. So start tracking your time over the next 3 days or so, just to get a picture of, like, what's going on. Once you have tracked your time, I want you to look at those tasks, and I want you to ask yourself, what did I do over these past 3 days that helped me to feel accomplished, that actually helped me to create growth, get a result, that made me feel really good? Like, what are you doing that makes you feel accomplished? And maybe you'll circle a few of those things. Maybe you'll circle nothing, in which case you need to be like, okay, something needs to change. And And then once you've identified what did feel good, what helped you feel accomplished, what helped you to create momentum and growth, even if it's just teeny tiny growth, and then ask yourself, what was a complete waste of my time? What did I spend my time doing that really made me feel very unaccomplished, that made me feel like I was just, faffing around, wasting my time? What did that look like? So then look at that stuff, because so often, let's say in the focus time you get to work on your business, even if it's just 30 minutes a day, what are you doing in that 30 minutes? And is it stuff that is essential? Is it stuff that you really, truly need to be doing? Or are you just like really unclear on what you really need to be doing, so you're not really making progress? So it feels frustrating because you've got this 30 minutes, which you can still do a bit in 30 minutes if you're focused. But if you're not focused, it's hard to make the most of that 30 minutes and then you don't feel accomplished. So it's just really looking at like the bigger picture of like what's working, what's not working, and looking at what can you drop. So like I said before, like sometimes we're just busy fools. We're just busy doing this stuff, but it's stuff. And we're not really like sure, it's just a jumble of things. So it's like, what can you drop off your plate? What doesn't need to be on your plate anymore? What can you give yourself permission to let go of? Because I think we hold on to things and we think we need to be doing all the things, but you don't need to be doing all the things. Doing one thing really well is probably going to get you results faster than feeling this pressure to do all of the things. So like if you tune in with yourself and connect with yourself, like what do you enjoy doing? What feels good? What feels like it flows? And just go there and just maybe ask yourself, well, for now, could I just park this stuff? And I can come back to it later, but for now, I'm going to park this because it doesn't feel like it's getting a result. It doesn't make me feel good. And I just don't want to keep continuing to waste my time on this stuff right now. Like, are there things you're doing that you think, okay, yeah, I could actually park that and I don't need to be doing that right now. And so just have a look through it. And you might actually also ask yourself the question is there anything I could outsource? And maybe you're in a position to be able to outsource stuff and to delegate. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're not at that place right now. It took me a long time to get to that place. But if you can outsource things, if you can hire a VA, if you can get that support, then maybe there are things on your plate that you could offload to someone else. And then you can just focus on doing the things that help you to feel accomplished. So really just like analyzing and looking at stuff and just seeing, but coming back to like, what will make you feel accomplished? And only you can answer that question. Like what would help you to feel accomplished? And maybe, for example, if you've got a business where you've got a course or a membership or a digital product or whatever it is, maybe for you, for example, doing a workshop, a free workshop every week might actually be a great use of time that might help you to feel really accomplished. And you're just doing that same workshop every week, showing up, connecting with your audience. Maybe it's going live on social media once a week, every day, whatever you want. But that's going to help you to feel accomplished and help you to get results. I feel like for me, accomplishment is linked to showing up and showing up in a way that's actually helping me to feel like this actually got me a result. Even if it was a small result, even if you do a live and 3 people show up and it's small, but it's doing something and everyone starts somewhere and you build momentum by taking action on those things. So just kind of looking at it all and just making life easier for yourself and simpler. Simple. I think, for me, since I've switched into this and look at my time as in like, okay, when I plan out on a Sunday night, how can I feel accomplished this week? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What do I need to do? And I plan out from that perspective. Even if I know I don't have much time available for growing the business, I know in the time that I do have, I'm very focused on only doing things really that help me to feel accomplished. So it's letting go of the stuff that is not necessary for me to be doing, and realizing that looking at doing a workshop and actually speaking to my audience and connecting with them and then offering them the chance to join the membership is more valuable use of my time than potentially making a bunch of posts that go out on Instagram. Just as an example, I'm not saying it's bad to make posts that go out on Instagram. That could be an amazing use of your time. But for me, doing it that way and looking at how do I feel accomplished and make the most of my time, that has been such a game changer. And yeah, so even if you've only got an hour, 2 hours a week, whatever it is, or an hour a day, how can you make sure you feel accomplished in that time? And a lot of this does come back to like, once you have done that time tracking and you're seeing what's working, what's not working, what gets you results. And if you don't know what gets you results, then literally start there. We start thinking about like, okay, so let's take a look at this in more detail. What could get me results? And if you're like, okay, nothing's getting me results, then you need to ask yourself the question, okay, well, what result do I actually want? And what do I need to learn, or what skill set do I need to develop to get that result, and who can help me? And obviously there's so much help out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, even in the members club, in our membership, like there's tons of amazing experts that can help you, tons of masterclasses that can help you. If you're not a member, I'm not saying you should join, but I'm just saying that there's so much support out there. I mean, you're more than welcome to if you want, but there's so much support out there for you. And it's really just breaking it all down and identifying, okay, what is one simple next step that I could take right now that would inch me a little bit closer? And if you do that, you're also going to feel accomplished. So me saying, okay, once a week, if I do a workshop, it's going to help me to feel accomplished and help me to create growth and help me to build momentum and get results. That's me saying that after years and years and years of building this business and understanding what could really have a great impact. But if you're not in that place, then simply just even asking yourself, what's that one next simple step that I can take right now, and just breaking it down and coming back to it and making it as simple and as easy as and as doable as possible to know what that next step is. If every time you have a window of time to work on your business, you're asking yourself that question, you're going to feel so much more accomplished. So anyway, that's my big message, is focus on feeling accomplished rather than focusing on like time management. Just, you want to feel accomplished. And what does that mean for you? When do you feel accomplished? What makes you feel accomplished? And focus on doing that stuff. Focus on that's going to make you feel good and help you to build momentum and get a result. And drop the stuff that's not getting you a result, that isn't helping you, that doesn't feel good. Drop it. Give yourself permission to drop it. Even if you drop it for 2 weeks, you're like, right, I'm going to just drop this for 2 weeks. I'm just going to focus on this stuff for 2 weeks. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see what changes. But first things first, start by tracking your time. I think that'll be really helpful, and just see where you go from there. I would love to hear your thoughts on how you manage your time, on how it feels. Do you feel like you just never have enough time? Do you feel like you're not making the progress you want? Do you feel like you struggle with like actually being productive? Definitely let me know in the comments. Let me know on social media. I would love to chat about it. I think this is a really big challenge for so many of us, which is fine. We're allowed to struggle with this. We want to achieve a lot, and there is, we've only got 24 hours in the day, and we do want to make a lot happen, and we want to make it happen now, damn it, now. And it can get frustrating, but that's okay. But it's just looking at like, okay, how do I make it a little bit better for myself so that it feels good? Because it should feel good, right? We want to be intentional about it feeling good. But anyway, I really hope you have enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you listening. I really appreciate your support, and I also appreciate you sharing this in your stories. So thank you, and I will see you next week for another episode of the She Means Business Show. Have a wonderful week. I hope you loved this week's episode of the She Means Business Show. If you want more help and support to build a wildly successful business, then join hundreds of thousands of women and become an FEA insider. You'll get access to some of our amazing freebies, to our bonuses, to our giveaways, to so much good stuff. Head over to femaleentrepreneurassociation.com/insider to get all of the goodness. And I will see you next week for another episode of the She Means Business Show.